What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back with yet another Top Pokemon Card Weekly Auction Recap. And as usual, we have a ton of variety with a lot of cards I guarantee you ain't never seen before. Thank you so much for tuning in and showing your support. I really appreciate it. So, like I said, tons of auctions this week as usual. So sit back, relax. Let's dive right into this auction recap, starting off with the special delivery cards. Now, I got a little game for you.
I want to play a game.
The game is called Which Special Delivery Card is the Most Valuable as a PSA 10? Ready? Is it the Special Delivery Charizard, the newest and most hyped up Special Delivery card of them all? Is it the Special Delivery Pikachu that also had a good amount of hype around it? Or is it the Special Delivery Bidoof? Which one of these cards is the most valuable? You got your answer? You sure? Okay, here we go. If you said Special Delivery Charizard is the most valuable, you would be wrong, as this week we saw a sale of $231.50. If you said Special Delivery Pikachu, you are also wrong, as this card had sold this week for $530. And if you said Special Delivery Bidoof, you would be correct, as this card is the most expensive of the three, selling most recently for $605. Alright, so last week we saw a couple of BGS graded V-Star Universe cards. This week we saw several PSA graded V-Star Universe cards, starting off with this Charizard V-Star that sold as a PSA 10 for $455, followed by this PSA 10 Giratina V-Star that sold for $445, and then last but also least was the Palkia V-Star that sold this week as a Gem Mint 10 for $212. Up next, we saw another wave of PSA graded cards from Silver Tempest, starting off with this Full Art Candace Trainer that sold for $157, while the Rainbow Rare version of this card didn't do quite as well, only selling for $71 this week. We saw a Full Art Friends and Galar card that sold for $89, along with this Rayquaza VMAX Trainer Gallery card that sold for $147.50. Here is a Regidrago V alternate art that sold for $127.50. And then we saw the Unknown V alt art sell for $177.50. Here we saw a couple of promo cards featuring Pikachu and the brand new upcoming starters. Both of these cards were Black Label BGS 10s. One sold for $810. The other one sold for $860. Up next, folks, this is very interesting. I actually touched on this a bit in my most recent top 10 worst investment video. This here Veltal was featured on it, so if you haven't seen that video, I'm sure you already have. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out. A lot of good information there. This week, a PSA 10 copy of this card sold for $10.50. However, a BGS 10 Black Label copy of this card sold this week for $304. So, the Black Label Amazing Rares are certainly fetching the premium. A couple of cards from the XY era. Here is a Mega Mewtwo EX from Breakthrough Set, sold for $224. Here is a Mega Rayquaza EX from Ancient Origins, sold for $590 this week. Up next are a bunch of the old school EX cards. We're going to go through them from least valuable to most. This week we saw a Regirock EX sell for $260. Here is a Muck EX from the EX Dragon set that sold for $262. A Magmar EX from Ruby and Sapphire sold for $276. Chansey EX, $403. Here's a Typhlosion that sold for $435. Altaria sold for $455. The Politoed EX sold for $715. The Scizor EX sold for $810. The Gardevoir here also sold for $810. And the Tyranitar was the most valuable EX card this week, selling for $3,250. Here we have a bunch of awesome graded Charizards. Here is the Black Star Promo Charizard EX that sold for $362. Here's the Charizard Holo from Legendary Treasures, sold for $915. Here is a Reverse Holo Charizard from Expedition Set, sold for $1,050. And then here is a Staff pre-release Team Up Charizard Holo that sold for $1,400, while another copy also sold for $1,400 this week. Here we have a Full Art Charizard EX from Flashfire that sold as a PSA 10 for $1,500. Here is a holo Charizard from Arceus that sold for $1,525. And then here is the Zard from Power Keepers that sold for $1,625. Here we have a CGC 9.5 Base 2 Charizard holo that sold for $1,806. And the title it cracks me up. A Charizard holo Base 2 with swirl, CGC 9.5, likely a PSA 10. It's possible, but I hate when I see extra tidbits in the title, like, it's not a PSA 10. It's a CGC 9.5. Get that PSA 10 stuff out of that title, you know what I mean? Here we have a Holo Evolutions Charizard in PSA 10. This card has not budged in price, I think, for over a year. It's been selling for around $1,800. This week, one sold for $1,825. Couple of vintage cards before we get into our sealed product. Here is a Dark Feraligatr First Edition Holo from Neo Destiny. Sold for $960. Here's a Gold Star Raikou that sold for an even $1,000. In the Gold Star Celebi from EX Crystal Guardian sold for $2,325 this week. And lastly, for the graded cards on eBay, here is a CGC 9.5 First Edition Base Set Venusaur. It sold for $4,572 big ones. Alright folks, you know I can't resist. I gotta go over some graded Pokemon booster packs, starting with the Evolutions booster pack that got a PSA 10, sold for $143.50. Here we have a Roaring Skies graded pack that sold for $152. And then here we have a Sun and Moon Burning Shadows graded pack that sold for $153. And then here I wanted to mention this graded First Edition Neo Discovery booster pack with the Umbreon artwork there, sold for $710. I really didn't see much in terms of booster boxes this week. However, there was a Platinum Rising Rivals sealed booster box that sold for $5,500. And on to the PWCC weekly auction block. There's a lot of awesome cards that came through. Here is a Black Star promo Dialga Level X Pop 1 of 4 card, sold for $3,960. Here we have a 700-point fan club promo card of Porygon. This sold as a PSA 10 for $4,320. Here we have a First Edition Base Set Italian Charizard graded by BGS, also signed by Mitsuhiro Arita. The grade of the card got an 8.5, while the autograph got a 10. This card sold for $4,560. Here we have a Black Label Espeon from the Japanese Neo 2 set, otherwise known as Neo Discovery. Pop 1 card that sold for $5,640. Here is a no rarity symbol Japanese base set Pikachu in PSA 10 that sold for $7,200 this week. Here is yet another Japanese Espeon. This one here is the 50,000 point promo in BGS 9 condition that sold for $24,600. Getting into some really big numbers, here is a BGS 8.5 Japanese Mario Stadium Chansey card. This card here sold last week for $63,000. And the auction of the week I'm going to give to the SGC 10 First Edition Base Set Charizard that sold for $102,000. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. Leave your comment below. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. That's all I got for you this week. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next week.